Jake Morrison stood at the large window in his office, looking out at the red sun that never seemed to shine bright enough. The star was old and tired, just like the 3 dead planets that circled around it. At least that's what everyone in the galaxy thought about the Kepler 442 system. They were all wrong. Far below Jake's feet, 2 million humans lived and worked in the biggest secret the galaxy had ever seen. The underground cities stretched for miles beneath the rocky surface of Kepler 442b. Huge machines hummed quietly as they built ships, weapons, and tools that would make the alien races gasp in surprise. Jake had been the colony director for 10 years now. He remembered when his father brought him here as a small boy, back when there were only a few thousand people living in the tunnels. Now the colony was bigger than most alien worlds, and still growing every day. A soft knock on his door made him turn around. Dr. Lisa Carter walked in with a worried look on her face. She was the smartest person Jake knew, and when Lisa looked worried, everyone should be worried. "We have a problem," she said, sitting down in the chair across from his desk. "The Federation is coming." Jake felt his stomach drop. The Galactic Federation was made up of dozens of alien races who thought they ruled the galaxy. They had never paid much attention to humans before, thinking people from Earth were too weak and stupid to matter. That had worked just fine for the secret colonies. "How many ships?" Jake asked. "At least 50, maybe more. They want to build a big military base right here in our system." Lisa pulled out a small device and showed him pictures of the alien fleet. "Admiral Zexthon is leading them. He's one of the tough ones from the Veltar Empire." Jake looked at the pictures and felt angry. The aliens thought they could just take whatever they wanted. They had no idea that humans had been living here for 50 years, building and growing stronger every day. "When will they arrive, Doing?" he asked. 3 days, maybe 4 if we're lucky. Jake pressed a button on his desk. "Get me the council. Emergency meeting in 1 hour." As Lisa left, Jake looked back out the window. Somewhere out there, alien ships were coming to take his home. They thought this was just another empty system to grab and use. They had no idea what they were about to find. An hour later, Jake sat at a round table with the 4 other people who helped run the colony. General Pete Walsh was in charge of all the soldiers and weapons. He was a big man with gray hair who had fought aliens before, back when humans still lived only on Earth. Amy Brooks ran all the farms that fed the colony. She had figured out how to grow food in the underground spaces, using special lights and water systems that worked better than anything on most alien worlds. Carl Johnson was the chief engineer. He built the machines that built everything else. His workshops could make spaceships that were faster and stronger than anything the Federation had ever seen. Kate Adams was the youngest person at the table, but she knew more about alien secrets than anyone else in the colony. She spent her days listening to Federation radio signals and stealing their messages. "Tell them what you told me," Jake said to Lisa. Lisa explained about the alien fleet coming to build a base. Everyone listened quietly, but Jake could see they were all thinking the same thing he was. This was the moment they had been preparing for their whole lives. "We have 3 choices," General Walsh said when Lisa finished. "We can hide and hope they don't find us. We can pack up and run to another star system, or we can fight. If we hide, they'll find us eventually," Carl said. "Their scanners are getting better every year. If we run, we lose everything we've built here," Amy added. "All the farms, all the factories, all the homes. And where would we go? Every good system in the galaxy already belongs to someone." Kate leaned forward. "I've been listening to their communications for months. They don't respect us at all. They think humans are like pets or children. Even if we revealed ourselves peacefully, they would just take over anyway." Jake nodded. He had been thinking the same thing. The aliens saw humans as weak and primitive. They would never believe that a human colony could be strong enough to defend itself. "What about our ships?" he asked Carl. "How many do we have ready?" Carl smiled for the first time that day. 43 combat ships, all with the new stealth technology, plus about 20 smaller ships for support. The aliens won't see us coming until it's too late." General Walsh stood up and walked to a wall screen that showed a map of the solar system. "Their plan is simple. They'll put the big ships near the fourth planet and send smaller groups to check each world. When they get to our planet, we'll be ready for them." "Are you sure we can win?" Amy asked. "There are only 2 million of us. The Federation has billions of soldiers." "We don't need to fight all of them," the general replied. "We just need to show them that we're not going anywhere. Once they realize humans aren't weak anymore, everything changes." Jake looked around the table at his friends and allies. These people had spent their whole lives building something amazing in secret. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humans could really do. "All in favor of fighting?" he asked. 5 hands went up without hesitation. "Then it's decided," Jake said. "We make our stand here. Send word to all department heads. Full battle preparations start now. In 3 days, the galaxy is going to learn that humans are not to be underestimated anymore." As the council members left to prepare their people, Jake stayed behind and looked out his window again. The red sun looked a little brighter now, or maybe that was just his imagination. Either way, he knew that in a few days, nothing would ever be the same again. The secret was about to come out and the galaxy was in for the biggest shock of its existence. Admiral ZX stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the red star through the main screen. His ship was bigger than most human cities, and 50 more ships just like it followed behind him. The Veltar Empire had sent him to claim this worthless system, and he planned to be done in a few days. "Begin the scan of all planets," he ordered his crew. The bridge was full of tall, gray-skinned aliens with 4 arms each. They moved quickly to follow his commands. "Admiral, we detect old mining equipment on the 2nd and 3rd planets," reported his science officer. "Nothing else of value." Zexthon nodded. This was exactly what he had expected. The Kepler 442 system was known throughout the galaxy as a dead zone. Only automated machines came here to dig for rare metals. It was perfect for the Federation's new military base. "Take us to the 4th planet," he commanded. "We will build our base there." As the huge alien fleet moved deeper into the system, they had no idea they were being watched. Hidden inside hollowed-out asteroids, human observers tracked every ship. Captain Ryan Mitchell sat in the command chair of his own vessel, the Defiant Dawn, waiting for the right moment. "All ships report ready," his communications officer told him. "We have them completely surrounded." Ryan looked at his crew. Most of them had been born in the hidden colony. They had trained their whole lives for this moment, but they had never fought real aliens before. Today they would find out if all their preparation was enough. "Send the signal to all ships," Ryan said. "It's time to show ourselves." Across the solar system, 43 human ships suddenly appeared out of nowhere. They had been hiding using stealth technology that made them invisible to alien scanners. Now they surrounded the Federation fleet like a pack of wolves. On his flagship, Admiral Zexthon stared at his screens in shock. A moment ago, the system had been empty except for his own ships. Now unknown vessels were everywhere, and his sensors couldn't tell him where they had come from. "Unknown ships, identify yourselves immediately," he broadcast on all frequencies. His voice was deep and threatening, the way it had always worked with other alien races. The answer came from the lead human ship. "Admiral Zexthon, this is Captain Ryan Mitchell of the Human Colonial Alliance. You are trespassing in sovereign human territory. Leave immediately, or face the consequences." The bridge of the alien flagship went completely silent. Every crew member stared at their admiral, waiting to see what he would do. Humans weren't supposed to have spaceships like this. Humans weren't supposed to have territory anywhere except their original worlds near Earth. "Impossible," Zexthon whispered. Then louder, "Human, your species does not have the technology to build ships like these. Surrender now and we will treat you with mercy." Ryan's answer was calm and clear. "Admiral, you are mistaken about many things. We claim this system under the ancient right of settlement. We have lived here for 50 years. You have 1 hour to leave or we will remove you by force." Far below on the planet's surface, the hidden human colony was buzzing with activity. Helen Torres, who helped coordinate the civilian population, watched the space battle on screens throughout the underground cities. 2 million people held their breath as they waited to see what would happen next. Are we really going to fight them? Asked a young mother holding her baby. We don't have a choice, Helen replied. They would never let us live in peace if they knew we were here. In another part of the colony, Kate Adams sat in a room full of computers and radio equipment. She was listening to the Federation communications, trying to understand how the aliens were reacting to the surprise. They're panicking, she reported to Jake Morrison over the comm system. I'm hearing messages from at least 12 different alien governments. They're all asking the same question. How did humans get this technology? Jake was in the main command center, watching the space battle on huge screens. General Walsh stood beside him, ready to give orders to their hidden weapons if the fighting got worse. What are they saying about us? Jake asked Kate. They can't believe what they're seeing. The Federation has files on human technology, and our ships are at least 50 years ahead of what they think we can build. Some of them are wondering if we got help from other aliens. On the flagship, Admiral ZXthon was having the same thoughts. He had fought dozens of different alien races in his long career, but he had never seen ships move like the human vessels. They were faster than his own ships, and their weapons looked more advanced than anything in the Federation fleet. Sir, what are your orders? Asked his second-in-command. Xthon looked at the tactical display. The human ships had him completely surrounded, but they hadn't fired yet. They were waiting to see what he would do. If he attacked and lost, it would be the most embarrassing defeat in Veltar history. If he retreated, the Federation would ask difficult questions about how humans had gotten so strong without anyone noticing. Open a channel to their leader, he finally said. Captain Ryan's face appeared on the main screen. He looked young for a ship commander, but his eyes were steady and confident. I am Admiral ZXthon of the Veltar Empire, the alien said. I must speak with your government before any decisions are made. You are speaking to our government, Ryan replied. The Human Colonial Alliance has full authority in this system. Your fleet is not welcome here. Where did you get these ships? ZXthon demanded. Humans do not have this technology. We built them ourselves, Ryan said simply. We've had 50 years to learn and grow. Did you think we would stay weak forever? Sio, Alien Admiral, felt something he hadn't experienced in decades: fear. If humans could build ships like this in secret, what else were they capable of? How many other colonies were hidden throughout the galaxy? I need time to consult with my superiors, ZXthon said. You have 1 hour, Ryan repeated. After that, we will consider your presence here an act of war. As the communication ended, both fleets waited in tense silence. The Federation had come expecting to claim an empty system. Instead, they had discovered that humanity was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The secret was out, and the galaxy would never be the same. The news spread across the galaxy faster than anyone thought possible. Within 6 hours of the standoff at Kepler 442, every major alien government knew that humans had taken control of an entire star system. The reaction was immediate and panicked undue. The Federation capital world of Nexus Prime, President Consul Vex Mira called an emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. The massive meeting hall filled with representatives from 47 different alien species. Everyone was talking at once, and the noise echoed off the crystal walls. Order! I demand order! Vex Mira shouted, slamming her 6-fingered hand on the speaking podium. She was a Zenthari, one of the oldest and most respected races in the Federation. Her blue skin seemed to glow with anger as she looked out at the crowd. We have received disturbing reports from the Kepler 442 system, she began. Admiral ZXthon reports that humans have somehow acquired advanced military technology and claimed an entire star system as their own territory. The hall erupted in shouts and arguments. Senator Corks of the Hegemony stood up, his insect-like body clicking as he moved. Impossible. Humans are barely capable of interstellar travel. Our intelligence reports show they have maybe a dozen colonies, all small and weak. Then explain how they built a fleet that can challenge 50 Veltar warships, demanded General Korthax, the Federation's top military commander. He was a Reltari, a warrior race that had conquered 12 star systems before joining the Yubiao Federation. I've seen the scanner reports. Those ships are using technology we don't understand. In another part of the galaxy, Similar meetings were taking place. The Void Consortium, a group of trader species, was calculating how much money they might lose if humans controlled important trade routes. The Hive Collective, made up of telepathic insects, was trying to figure out how they had missed human expansion completely. Back at Kepler 442, the human colony was monitoring all these alien communications. Tim Rogers sat in a room full of computers, recording every message that crossed space. He was amazed at how scared the aliens sounded. "They're completely confused," he reported to the colony leadership. "Some of them think we must have made a deal with the Shadow Empire or the Deep Void Raiders. They can't believe we built this technology ourselves." Jake Morrison listened to the reports while watching the space standoff continue. Admiral Zexthon's fleet was still there, but they hadn't moved closer to the planet. The alien commander was waiting for orders from his government, and those orders were taking a long time to come. "What are they most worried about?" Jake asked Tim. "Economics," Tim replied. "The Kepler 4042 system produces 30% of the trilithium used in alien star drives. If we control that, we control their ability to travel between stars. Some of them are talking about raising fuel prices immediately." Maria Santos, who managed the colony's government relations, looked up from her own reports. "I'm getting secret messages from other places," she said quietly. "Other human colonies that have been hiding just like us." Jake felt his heart skip a beat. "How many others?" "At least 20 so far, maybe more. They're all asking if this is the signal they've been waiting for." On Nexus Prime, the emergency council meeting was getting more heated by the hour. Ambassador Lixandra of the Diplomatic Corps was trying to calm everyone down, but her peaceful words weren't working. "We must be careful," she said, her golden skin shimmering as she spoke. "If humans have truly developed advanced technology, attacking them could start a war that spreads across the galaxy." "They're still just humans," General Korthax roared. "One species cannot stand against the entire Federation. I say we send 1,000 ships to crush them before they get any stronger." Dr. Morgeth, the Federation's chief economist, stood up slowly. He was a cerebral, a species known for their huge brains and careful thinking. "General, you are not considering the larger implications. If humans control the Kepler 442 mining operations, 17 different species will face immediate shortages of essential materials. Our entire economy could collapse." "Then we take the system back," the general replied. "And if we fail?" Dr. Morgeth asked. "What if there are more human colonies we don't know about? What if this is just the beginning?" The question hung in the air like a dark cloud. For the first time in centuries, the Federation faced an enemy they didn't understand. Humans had always been viewed as a minor species, useful for basic labor but not important enough to worry about. Now everything had changed. Back in the human colony, Kate Adams was picking up more alien communications every hour. The reports she heard were getting stranger and more frightening for the aliens. "Jake, you need to hear this," she said, playing a recorded message from a hegemony intelligence officer. "They're finding evidence of human presence in star systems they thought were empty. Old mining equipment, abandoned outposts, even genetic traces in soil samples." "How old?" Jake asked. "Some of it goes back over 100 years. They're starting to realize that humans have been spreading through the galaxy much longer than anyone thought." The revelation was causing panic in alien governments across known space. If humans had been secretly colonizing for over a century, how many systems did they really control? How many more surprises were waiting to be discovered? On his flagship, Admiral Zexthon finally received new orders from the Veltar High Command. The message was short and clear. Do not engage the humans until more information is available. The Empire was sending diplomats and intelligence officers to assess the situation. For the first time in his military career, Zexthon felt uncertain about the future. The galaxy had always made sense to him. Strong species conquered weak ones, and humans were definitely weak. But the ships surrounding his fleet were not weak, and neither were the people who built them. As news continued to spread, alien civilizations that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years began to realize that everything they thought they knew about humans was wrong. The species they had dismissed as primitive and harmless had been quietly growing stronger in the shadows. The balance of power in the galaxy was shifting, and no one knew where it would end. 3 days after the standoff at Kepler 442, the galaxy received another shock that made the first one seem small. Across 47 different star systems, hidden human colonies began revealing themselves all at once. The coordinated announcement came at exactly the same time, as if someone had given a signal that humans everywhere had been waiting for. The first message came from the Vega system, where Steve Parker had been running a secret colony for 30 years. His transmission reached Federation headquarters just as the morning shift was starting their workday. "This is Director Steve Parker of the Vega 7 settlement," he said calmly into his communication device. "We are announcing our presence as part of the Human Colonial Alliance. This system is now under human control." Before the Federation could respond, more messages started coming in. From the Alpha Centauri region, Dr. Nancy Bell reported that humans had been living there for 45 years. From the Wolf system, Colony Administrator Mark Davis said his people controlled 3 different planets and 2 asteroid mining stations. Within 6 hours, 47 different human colonies had announced themselves to the galaxy. Each one claimed their star system as human territory. Each one had technology that seemed impossible for humans to possess. Each one had been growing stronger in secret while the aliens ignored them. On Nexus Prime, President Consul Vex Mira stared at the flood of messages covering her desk. Her staff was running around frantically, trying to process all the information. The Federation's entire understanding of human expansion had been wrong for decades. "How many humans are we talking about?" she asked her intelligence chief. "At least 50 million, possibly more," he replied, his voice shaking. "Some of these colonies have been operating for over half a century. They have industrial facilities, military bases, research stations, everything needed for independent civilization." General Korthax burst into the room without being announced. His warrior species had never shown fear before, but today his expression was grim. "The humans control key resources throughout Federation space," he reported. "Rare metals, energy sources, strategic locations near major trade routes. If they decide to stop trading with us, entire sectors of the galaxy will face shortages." Dr. Morgoth appeared on a communication screen from his research facility. The economist had been working non-stop since the crisis began. "The economic implications are staggering," he said. "Human colonies produce materials that 17 different species depend on. They control shipping routes that carry 40% of our interstellar commerce. This isn't just about one rebellious colony anymore. This is about a complete shift in galactic power." At Kepler 442, Jake Morrison was coordinating with human leaders across the galaxy. The communication room was filled with screens showing colony directors from dozens of different worlds. Each person looked tired but determined. They had all kept the same secret for decades, and now it was finally time to reveal the truth. "Are all colonies ready for the next phase?" Jake asked the group. "Vega 7 is ready," reported Steve Parker. "We have 15 military ships and enough supplies to last 2 years if there's a blockade." "Proxima Research Station is ready," said Dr. Nancy Bell. "Our science teams have developed new weapon systems that the Federation has never seen before." "Wolf Industrial Complex is ready," announced Mark Davis. "We can produce enough ships and equipment to supply the entire alliance if needed." One by one, each colony director reported their readiness. The Human Colonial Alliance wasn't just a collection of hidden settlements. It was a coordinated network that had been preparing for this moment for 50 years. Back on Nexus Prime, Ambassador Seir Lixandra was trying to understand how the Federation had missed such a massive expansion. She called a meeting with the heads of all intelligence services. "How did we not know about this?" she demanded. 47 colonies don't just appear overnight." The intelligence chiefs looked embarrassed. Director Vorth of Hegemony Intelligence spoke first. "Our agents focused on known human worlds near Earth. We assumed humans were too primitive to expand beyond their local systems. We made the same mistake," admitted Chief Analyst Kex of the Void Consortium. "Human ships looked crude compared to our technology, so we didn't bother tracking them closely. What they didn't know was that human intelligence operations had been just as extensive as their colonization efforts." Kate Adams and intelligence officers like her had been monitoring alien communications for decades, learning their weaknesses and blind spots. The humans had stayed hidden not by luck, but by careful planning and superior information gathering. In the colony's main command center, Tim Rogers was intercepting more alien communications. The panic was spreading to species that weren't even part of the Federation. Independent alien governments were calling emergency meetings. Trade organizations were trying to figure out which shipping routes were still safe to use. "They're starting to realize how deep this goes," Tim reported to Jake. "Some of them are finding evidence of human presence dating back over a century. There are reports of human mining operations, research stations, even small settlements that were abandoned decades ago." Maria Santos looked up from her own communications equipment. "I'm getting contact requests from colonies we didn't even know existed," she said. "Apparently there are more human settlements that weren't part of our original network. They're coming forward now that the secret is out." The scope of human expansion was becoming clear, and it was larger than anyone had imagined. Humans hadn't just been hiding a few colonies. They had been quietly spreading throughout the galaxy for generations, staying invisible until they were strong enough to reveal themselves. On his flagship still orbiting Kepler 442, Admiral Zexthon received new orders from the Veltar High Command. The message was simple but shocking. "Do not take any hostile action against humans until further notice." The Empire was opening diplomatic channels with the Human Colonial Alliance. For the first time in galactic history, a species that had been considered weak and primitive was being treated as an equal by the major powers. The age of human secrecy was ending and the age of human influence was about to begin. The galaxy would never be the same again. 6 months had passed since the day the galaxy learned that humans were not weak anymore. The Kepler 442 system was now the unofficial capital of the Human Colonial Alliance, and Jake Morrison found himself meeting with alien ambassadors almost every day. The underground colony had grown into a bustling center of galactic politics. Today, Jake sat across from Ambassador Lixandra in what used to be a storage room, but was now the colony's main diplomatic center. The golden-skinned alien looked tired but respectful, very different from how Federation officials used to treat humans. "The Galactic Council has voted," she said, sliding a datapad across the table. "The Human Colonial Alliance is officially recognized as an equal member of the Federation. You will have the same voting rights as the Veltar Empire, or the hegemony." Jake picked up the datapad and read the document. It was written in 17 different alien languages, but the human translation was clear. After centuries of being treated like children, humans were now considered one of the galaxy's major powers. "What about the trade agreements?" Jake asked. "All approved," Lixandra replied. "Human colonies will continue to supply trilithium and rare metals to Federation worlds. In return, we will share our advanced technologies in medicine and energy production." The economic changes had been the biggest surprise of all. When human colonies stopped hiding, the galaxy discovered that they controlled 30% of the materials needed for faster-than-light travel. Alien governments that had ignored humans for centuries suddenly found themselves dependent on human cooperation. Dr. Nancy Bell's research station at Proxima had become famous throughout the galaxy. Her team had developed medical treatments that could cure diseases that had plagued alien species for thousands of years. The irony was not lost on anyone. The species that aliens had considered primitive was now saving their lives. In another part of the colony, Captain Ryan Mitchell was training a new group of space pilots. The young humans gathered around him were the first generation to grow up knowing they were part of a galactic civilization. They would never have to hide their strength or pretend to be weak. "Remember," Ryan told his students, 6 months ago, most aliens thought we were barely capable of spaceflight. Today our ships are protecting trade routes from the outer rim to the core worlds. But don't let that make you cocky. We earned our place here through hard work and sacrifice, not through luck." The military changes had been just as dramatic as the economic ones. Human ships now patrolled areas of space that had been dangerous for decades. The stealth technology that had kept the colonies hidden was now being used to hunt down pirates and raiders who had terrorized alien merchant ships. General Pete Walsh had been promoted to Supreme Commander of Human Colonial Forces. His office, walls were covered with maps showing human military bases throughout the galaxy. What had started as a desperate plan to defend one colony had grown into a peacekeeping force that spanned dozens of star systems. "Any word from the archaeological teams?" Jake asked during their weekly planning meeting. "That's the really interesting news," Walsh replied. "They're finding evidence of human presence going back 300 years. There are old mining sites, abandoned research stations, even what looks like early colony attempts that failed." The archaeological discoveries had shocked everyone, including the humans themselves. It appeared that their species had been trying to expand beyond Earth for much longer than anyone remembered. Most of these early attempts had failed, but they proved that the drive to explore and colonize was deeply rooted in human nature. Kate Adams had become the Alliance's chief intelligence officer, coordinating information gathering across all human colonies. Her network of agents and listening posts now rivaled anything the major alien powers had built over centuries. "The most interesting development is how other species are reacting to us," she reported to Jake. "Some of the smaller alien governments are asking to form alliances directly with us, bypassing the Federation entirely." This was perhaps the most significant change of all. For the first time in galactic history, a newcomer species was being courted by established civilizations. The Traders Consortium wanted exclusive deals with human manufacturers. The scientific coalition was begging for access to human research. Even some of the warrior races were offering military partnerships. On Nexus Prime, President Consul Vex Mira was dealing with complaints from Federation members who felt that humans had gained too much influence too quickly. The emergency session of the Galactic Council was louder and more chaotic than usual. "They went from nothing to major power in less than a year," complained Senator Corks. "How do we know they can be trusted with such responsibility?" "Because they've already proven it," Vexamira replied firmly. "Human colonies have been operating responsibly for decades. They kept their expansion peaceful and their technology development ethical. They revealed themselves only when forced to defend their homes." General Corthax, who had once demanded military action against the humans, now found himself working closely with human colonial forces. "I have fought alongside human soldiers," he told the council. "They are brave, disciplined, and honorable. The galaxy is safer with them as allies rather than enemies." Back at Kepler 442, Jake stood in his office looking out at the red sun that had once seemed so dim and lonely. Now the system was busy with ships from dozens of different species. Human children played in parks that had been built above ground. For the first time in the colony's history, Maria Santos knocked on his door and entered with a communication device. "You have a call from Earth," she said. "The President wants to discuss establishing formal diplomatic relations with the Colonial Alliance." Jake smiled. Even the original human worlds were recognizing that the colonies had become something new and independent. The humans who had stayed near Earth were proud of what their cousins had accomplished in the far reaches of space. "Tell him I'll take the call in 5 minutes," Jake said. He wanted a moment to think about how much everything had changed. A year ago, he had been the director of a secret colony, always afraid of discovery. Today, he was one of the most powerful leaders in the galaxy. The transformation had been incredible, but it hadn't happened by accident. It was the result of decades of planning, sacrifice, and determination by millions of humans who refused to accept limitations. As Jake prepared to speak with Earth's president, he looked once more at the busy space around his planet. Human ships, alien vessels, and mixed crews working together on projects that would have been impossible just months before. The galaxy had learned that humans were not weak, not primitive, and definitely not going away. The age of human influence had begun, and the future was full of possibilities that no one could have imagined before the day a hidden colony decided to stand up and fight for its right to exist. The secret was out, and humanity's place among the stars was secure forever.